So, wealthy businessman Zsa-zsa Korda, played by Benicio Del Toro, is constantly, nearly, almost definitely, practically assassinated, but he always seems to just get away. Zsa-zsa Korda has made his money overseas in Europe building incredible, unique buildings and monuments and infrastructure works, dams and hydroelectrics, what have yous, all over Europe. And that is how he has become such a great owner of such a great estate and wealth and envy of the world. And after being nearly assassinated once again, Zsa-zsa Korda decides that he is going to appoint a sole heir to his estate, his only daughter, a nun, played by Mia Threapleton. I don't actually know how to say her name. Threapleton. We're going to go with it. Threapleton. And as the two of them embark on this new enterprise to build a great Korda Works project, the biggest thing of his career, they soon become a target of a bunch of different assassins and tycoons and ne'er-do-wells, and they have to travel the world to go to these multiple sites to try to net just a little bit more money out of their benevolent donors and often relatives of Zsa-zsa Korda to hopefully dust this whole project off and escape with their lives and create this last great thing before Zsa-zsa Korda is brutally assassinated. The movie stars Benicio Del Toro, Mia Threapleton, Michael Cera in our main cast, and a cavalcade of delightful Wes Anderson characters on the back end. The movie is The Phoenician Scheme. Andy, what'd you think?
So I'm not a big Wes Anderson fan, and I have not liked his previous two films, Asteroid City and The French Dispatch. But I was proud and happy to say that I actually really enjoyed this and had a lot of fun. I was with it from the beginning. I was joking that it starts out like The Dark Knight Rises because it starts out with a plane crash, the first of many that Zsa-zsa Korda will have. And what really works about this is it's really about the repairing of a father-daughter relationship. When we first meet Mia Threapleton, her character Liesl, she's gonna join a convent and become a nun, and Korda wants her to take over his empire, be his beneficiary, because he assumes he will probably be successfully assassinated within the coming months. And so they're both kind of suspicious of each other, and they're both like, we're going to do this on a trial period, see how this works out. And then they set off on this adventure to visit these different people to renegotiate these deals. They find out more about each other and kind of rebuild their relationship. There's several subplots going on. Usually there's an A and a B plot in a movie, and this has like A, B, C, D, E possible. Lots going on. There's a subplot about Zsa-zsa Korda keeps kind of envisioning his death and being before the gates of heaven. There is the question of what happened to Liesl's mother. Everyone says that she was killed specifically by Korda himself. There's a mystery there. There's, of course, paying for the gap. There's getting this thing paid for, renegotiating his deal. So there's a lot going on. But it was just, I was engaged the entire time. We get a huge cast of favorites and newcomers coming in, but they don't overstay their welcome. It's not too long. I remember that in Asteroid City just being really kind of bored, and that didn't happen at all. I was with it the entire time.
Yeah, I think this is one of Anderson's better works as of late, or at least more accessible. It seems like Anderson movies typically go one of two ways. Either A, it's a plot from beginning to end, A to B to C, but with characters all the way through, kind of like a traditional film. Or B, it breaks out into multiple kind of short films or multiple kind of experimental ideas that weave over each other. French Dispatch is a great example. That is a story about a newspaper that it specifically has 3.5 specific small articles that are covered in the film that act as like 3.5 short films in the movie. So it's kind of like a large movie with 3 movies inside of it. Asteroid City uniquely has kind of the same sound because it's a play based on a rehearsal, based on a historical thing. Like, that's like layers within layers, and even that one gets odd at the end. But this one ditches all that. It's more like Grand Budapest. It's more like Royal Tenenbaums. It's more like Darjeeling Limited. It is straight through all the way. We get our characters at the beginning. We're with them all the way to the end. They grow and change as we grow and change. A little bit more accessible on the Anderson side, and I think that's probably its biggest strength. It has all of the classic elements of Wes Anderson, right? Single point perspective, odd matte pastel colors, the fun cavalcade of characters, unique humor, both in sight and sound, and occasional visual gags, which are a great time. I really liked what this movie has to say about masculinity. I'll talk about it more a little bit in a second, but Zsa-zsa Korda has 9 sons, and none of them are going to be his heir. This nun is this daughter who he's kind of already disavowed. And he is a terrible parent to them. He's a terrible father. He's hardly around, and when he is, he's basically bossing them. And they're all mean and cruel to one another, and they don't really listen to him. And then he travels the world trying to convince other men to give him money and try to do these business deals and try to like finagle some. And one guy, he's kind of tough. Another one, he calls in a favor. Another one, he's like desperately, meekly just hoping to help him out. And he really doesn't have a lot of ground to stand on, but somehow, like Zsa-zsa Korda manages to be an interesting figure throughout as he deals with other men in business and occasionally women. He's got a whole thing with Scarlett Johansson. We should probably talk about the characters and who's in it. It's quite the cast. I got a list pulled up, Andy. If you don't mind, I can rattle them off, or if you know them.
Good. Well, I think our main 3 is good to start with. Benicio Del Toro is the main. He's in almost every scene of this movie. Really carries it. Has a ton of lines. Mia Threapleton, who is the daughter of Kate Winslet, plays his daughter Liesel in what is, I think, a breakout role. She's brilliant. She's so funny, and it's not. She doesn't get a bunch of like scene chewing things, but it's just she has to do a lot of facial acting, a lot of that Wes Anderson deadpan, and she's in most of the scenes as well. And she's just so good. She has such a unique look. She wears this completely white outfit, but she has green eyeshadow and green tights. And she's planning to just take her vows and leave this life behind. And of course, the great Michael Cera, who you would think that he would have worked with Wes Anderson long before this, but he is pitch perfect for this. He plays this odd Swedish fellow he's there to be a tutor and help with entomology, the study of bugs, and is just perfect for this role.
Yeah, Sarah is odd and strange at first, and he just gets just a little bit of a tweak about halfway through this movie that is so great and totally gives him so much more range and ability to do unique things. A big cast of supporting characters as well. I got a few of them here. Riz Ahmed, Tom Hanks, Bryan Cranston, Richard Ayoade, Jeffrey Wright, Scarlett Johansson, Benedict Cumberbatch, Rupert Friend, Bill Murray, Willem Dafoe, F. Murray Abraham. Crazy. God, I wanted to mention Stephen Park in there as Korda's pilot in one of the opening scenes is really funny. I love so much the Wes Anderson style, and it's not for everybody, but it's just such a menagerie of film tricks. It reminds me of like a great card handler in Vegas, just doing like card trick after card trick on a table on the street. Miniatures, crash zooms, big sets, small sets, like insane angles, funny gags, sight gags, scripting, like just tons of little elements that just weave themselves together into this like tapestry of interesting features. God, what is that great French Dispatch had that line. I forget who said it. One of the critics said it's like a brakeless freewheel through a teeming bazaar. Like it's just you're on this wild adventure and you never know quite where it's going to end. But fortunately, Phoenician Scheme has a good framing device in the middle of it. These individual stops along the way where we have to go and meet these individuals about this specific part of this contract, and we have to specifically understand like why person A connects to person B, which is how we get to the money at the end, and ultimately meeting kind of our big bad or antagonist of the feature, who may very well just be Zsa-zsa Korda. Like, he's a unique character in and of himself. And I love Benicio Del Toro in this. Like, it's so great to see him at the front of a feature again. I feel like he often is sidelined as a like side cast, or, you know, kind of that funny character in that one Star Wars movie that you kind of remember, but he's really great. And it's really cool to see him like hold up his own kind of movie again.
So I was listening to an interview with Wes Anderson, and he was talking about when him and Roman Coppola were developing this story. Initially, this was just going to be about a really shrewd, mean businessman, kind of modeled after the businessmen of the 50s, but also modeled after, you know, people of today. If you can think of any billionaires with 9 children that come to mind, but that over the course of kind of working out the script, it turned more into this story of redemption and the the fixing of this relationship. I wanted to talk about the violence in this. This is a lot more violence in it than most Wes Anderson films, but in a fun, cartoonish way. It's like Looney Tunes style violence, and it's all played for laughs. I mean, there's people getting blown up, shot, stabbed, threats of all those, and it's always just played for a laugh, which is it's just really different from his style. Usually, there's not really a lot of violence in his film, so I thought there was something that stood out as unique, but that totally works.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. The film opens with a suspense scene and some stunning violence right at the top. I was like, oh God. Yeah, like it really does feel like, oh, we're breaking out and doing something different. But then you get into it and you're like, oh no, this is definitely Wes Anderson through and through. It's just starting on a different note. But I think it's really sharp. I'm running out of good things to say about it. Great soundtrack. Alexander Desplat, right? Like great again, like uses every part of the orchestra. Like it's like using every part of the Buffalo, dude. Like I swear. I think I heard every instrument in the soundtrack.
So
Uh, yeah.
the soundtrack, it's interesting because I looked it up. It's only 15 minutes long on the the soundtrack on Spotify, because it uses a lot of actually ballet music. It's using a lot of Stravinsky, Petrushka, Firebird Suite, The Rite of Spring, all the Stravinsky classics. For some reason, that's used a ton in this, and that's why the soundtrack is actually very short. Because it's using all this ballet music. Also, be sure to stick through most of the credits at the end of the film, because there's a lot of big works of art in the film, and they actually got these real paintings from all over the world to be in the film. And they were talking about they had like high level security, like bring in the art, stand near while it was being, and it's just kind of a testament to the process where they easily could have gotten copies or just CGI'd it in. And no, they chose to get like the real thing for a lot of these scenes.
Yeah, and it's particularly cool that they credit all of those individually on screen, like where they got it from, who painted it. It's so I don't know. I just feel like Wes Anderson features are this testament to like art for art's sake, right? Like they're funded by Indian Paintbrush, which is basically just one guy who loves Wes Anderson and has a ton of money and will just continue funding his projects in eternum. Anderson is not beheld by any studio or specific rules. He can just make whatever he wants. And like it's almost always a banger. It reminds me like I don't know, in a weird way, like something like a Nathan Fielder joint, right? Like somebody who's just making art that's completely in their own lane. He's not like copying anybody. He's not going out of his way to do anything that anybody tells him. And that's special and that's unique. And this is one of those ones that I think is more accessible than some of the more recent ones. So with that, Andy, any other thoughts for recommendations?
I'm ready.
Andy, would you recommend The Phoenician Scheme?
Yeah, I absolutely would. Like I said, I'm not a big Wes Anderson fan, but I really enjoyed this. I was with it and engaged the entire time. Really good performances from our three leads, Benicio Del Toro, Mia Threapleton, Michael Cera, along with a huge cast of surprises and people that we didn't name. It's a lot of fun, and it's only 100 minutes, so highly recommend.
Yeah, same. I think this movie's great. I think this is one of the better ones of his lately. Rock solid. I don't think it's his best. If I had to recommend one to somebody who'd never seen one, I'd probably still go with something like Grand Budapest. But if you like that, if you like Anderson, rock solid feature. And if you don't, maybe try it out. You might be surprised. You might just end up liking it. Remember, it's comedy. You're not supposed to just sit quietly at the whole thing. You're supposed to laugh through it. So keep that in mind. And yeah, that's Off Script episode 296. Good Lord, Andy. The march ever forward to 300 is nigh upon us. Good Lord. We're nearly there. What are we watching next week?
So we're doing another double theatrical week. Celine Song's Materialists comes out this week. This is the rom-com romantic movie starring Pedro Pascal, Chris Evans, and of course Madam Web herself, Dakota Johnson. We've heard a lot of good things. Excited for that. And also Life of Chuck, which is the Stephen King, based on the Stephen King short story starring Tom Hiddleston, about a man named Chuck in three different distinct points of his life. Not real sure what it's totally about, other than it's supposed to be uplifting and life affirming. So those are the two big ones. Just an FYI release, How to Train Your Dragon, the live action version comes out this week if you need something to take and see the kids. But we'll be doing Materialist and Life of Chuck next week.
That's right. We're skipping How to Train Your Dragon, which is weird because I like that first movie just fine. I think I saw the second and third one in theaters as well. But there's this funny thing when I go see remakes now that like I really remember identifying when I saw Little Mermaid in theaters because we covered that on the show. When I realized just a little ways into the remake movie, oh, this one is like the same. It follows the same beats. I know where the plot's going. I already feel like I can see the trajectory of everything that's going to happen, and I realize I have to sit for 90 minutes and watch a movie that I already have seen before. And I can't do that anymore because it makes me want to get up and leave. And I was that way a little bit with Little Mermaid. It was a little different, but mostly the same. And from what we can tell, How to Train Your Dragon looks like it is going to be just like the original. And it's like, I've seen that movie already. I'd rather go see something new. So I don't know. I don't know if anybody else gets this feeling of anxiety when you're watching remakes like I do, but if you do, the best way to take care of it is to subscribe to Offscript Film Review. So you can keep watching reviews like this one, and we can keep you informed on, what's coming out. We keep talking about movies. That's what we do. We see movies, we talk about them. Best way to do that is to subscribe on, YouTube, right? Where we're uploading new stuff every single week. You can subscribe on audio feeds like iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartMedia. If you like listening on the go, if you like listening to us when you're running or walking or what have you, if you can't watch, good news, you can listen to us whenever. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all these are social media places. Come follow us over there. Leave a rating and review if you can swing it. Check out our website, offscriptfilmreview.com, and leave us some correspondence direct from you to us at mail@offscriptfilmreview.com. From all of us at Offscript, the home of Bold Cinema, I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Thanks for watching.